Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Reds. And of course, I am your host, your YouTuber, son of liberty, never duplicated superstar. As of the time of this recording, the birthday boy, Tim Vicious, and, well, we're going to go over WrestleMania. But before we do, huge fucking news broke as of this morning, Monday morning. Well, I'm officially throwing out my bingo card, my wrestling bingo card for 2023 because everything I thought never would happen has fucking happened. First, Vince McMahon gets fired in 2022. Then he comes back in 2023, which I did not expect. Then he winds up growing a mustache. Vince McMahon has facial hair. Never thought in a million years I'd see that. It's still, it's like, like I can't. It's like looking at a train wreck. It's like seeing a train wreck. I want to look away, but I can't. Like, my God. And then the big news. The big news. Endeavor, the company that owns UFC, Endeavor and WWE, and I'm reading directly off of what they said. Endeavor. This just in, WWE and Endeavor's UFC will form a new 21 plus billion with a B live sports and entertainment company consisting of both iconic complementary brands. That is the news that they broke. So, WWE sold. To put it in simpler terms. I mean, listen, I've said it a million times on here before. Did I think it would happen? Yes, it could. In the realm of possibilities, I did say it was possible. I just never thought in my lifetime it would ever fucking happen. You know, hell, I thought Vince McMahon would wind up doing would be like in Futurama 100 years from now, being a head in a jar, still running the company, just having somebody put a headset on him and then yelling at somebody while sitting in a fish jar like, "God damn it, son, get his ass over here and turn me around so I can yell at him." Yeah, they're joining up with UFC to make a new brand, and what this means, honest to God, I have no idea. Nobody knows. The news just literally broke as of today, April 3rd, so everything's up in the air. Nobody knows nothing on nothing short from what Vince himself has talked about on TV, but if any reports come out saying, oh, the company's looking to go and do this, or they're looking to have this or that, rumors and speculation. Because keep in mind and this is going to be a shitty example, but when the AOL Time Warner merger happened, as big of a debacle that was, because that got set up over the course of like a weekend, if memory best serves, from Reed and Fools Rush In. That was, a lot of people were speculating, oh, now that they're doing that and that, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And it's just that, speculations. And I say the term WWE sold because here's the cold hard truth. Anytime they say two companies merge, it never really is a merge. One just made an acquisition over another. And I'll use a more recent example. When T-Mobile, the cell phone company, wound up making a merger deal with Sprint. No, they didn't make a merger. T-Mobile just looked at Sprint and said, heard you guys are for sale. What's your number? That's it. This is basically the same thing. Vince said, hey, we're for sale. This is our number. That's it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing. As of right now, gotta let it play out. Talk to me again in another 3, 4, 6 months from now, and I'll say, and I may have a different view. Nothing yet though. So yeah, I gotta stop myself because I could do this entire show about on just that, but I don't want to. We're doing WrestleMania in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. So let's get the show on the road, because this year's the WrestleMania episodes are always the longest ones, and I'm sorry for all you folks out there that choose to listen to this crazy man on a camera. Just go off. So with that said, night one, first match of the night. Austin Theory, John Cena. Theory coming out first, and then Cena, he came out, he had a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids with him at the entryway, and then Cena, he did that long run down the entry ramp to the ring, and man, listen, I do some heavy cardio, but my God, to be able to just go and sprint down that whole way, John's got some major fucking cardio, man. That guy can go. Now I understand why the Machine High Council considers him the #1 cyborg on their list. So, as far as the match goes, really nice feeling out process. Both guys kind of doing like different feats of strength. Not like the old classic hand grabbing feats of strength. Like kind of the feeling out, like who's got the who can do what moves or who has the better power game kind of bit. You know, Theory was leading early on, but you know, as the match went, Cena being the veteran started to pick up the pace and all. It was a good match. I thought it was a nice opener. Set the pace and tone for the night. Match came to an end when Cena had Theory up for the AA. Theory was holding on to the ropes. Cena yanked him off. Theory's boot, wham, popped the ref, so we had a ref bump. Next thing you know, Cena, he's got Theory in the STF. Theory taps. Cena lets go prematurely because, well, he didn't hear it. He heard him tap. Slut automatically thought, I won. Like, wait, no bell ring? No ref? Oh, ref. Hey, ref, wake up, ref. Going to get him. And then when he turns around, boom! Theory hits him with a low blow and then gets him with the A-Town. So, yeah. Did that. So, Theory got the win, 1, 2, 3. He had a match on the Raw after. Not going to say with who because I'd give away spoilers for the matches later on in the show, but Theory had a match and then got the win there, and then things escalated between his opponent and other people. We'll get to that. Next up, the tag team showcase match. Braun and Ricochet, the Viking Raiders, Alpha Academy, and the Street Profits. Really great start. Chad Gable with Ricochet, and then it was just like, whoo, doggy. That was good. That was good technical work with them two. And then, of course, after only so long, boom, mayhem ensues, and all teams are going everywhere, hitting everything. Everyone's popping off at anyone. If it didn't have 2 feet and a heartbeat, it wasn't getting smacked. And you know, I gotta tell you, man, this was a damn good match. I mean, it was like a car wreck, but it was a nice, pretty car wreck. You know? And probably the thing that made me jump out of my seat, literally, like, whoa, what the fuck? Was at one point Strowman. He was picking up steam, but, you know, getting the crowd riled up behind him. Next, he went to go do that running choo-choo Strowman Express bit he does outside the ring, tearing down, shoulder tackling everyone along the way. He goes, does it, and then stops, hits somebody inside the ring, and then goes to do it again. He goes, runs, gets right around to the commentator's table, and then, boom, Angelo Dawkins just throws himself at him and slams him down, and man, like, whoa! whoa! And I just, that was like the coolest thing to me, seeing that. So, yeah, that was really cool. So, anyways, match comes to an end when Ricochet, he goes to do a shooting star press onto Dawkins. Dawkins, he puts his feet up to counter it, but Ricochet, he lands on it, and then Dawkins holds him down on there while Ford goes up, does a frog splash onto Ricochet's back. So he's getting sandwiched. He's getting a frog splash on his back, and his ribs are getting smushed on Dawkins' knees at the same time. So then Ford goes and pins him, 1, 2, 3. Next up, we got the walking douche nozzle, Logan Paul, coming out with a dancing prime bottle, and I refuse to drink that shit just on principle alone. I will not drink it. I will not touch it. If somebody says, "Hey, we'll give you $100 if you try some," I'll look at them and say, "No, you know what? No, I ain't touch that shit. Fuck that." Versus Seth Elizabeth Rollins, because I have it on good authority. His middle name is not frickin', it's Elizabeth. And Seth had an awesome entrance. Had an actual conductor conducting the crowd, singing "Oh, oh, oh," conducting them, and then Seth coming out and quite possibly the most straight up Seth Rollins outfit I have seen yet. Giant, lush pink coat with pink velvet looking gloves on, and then when he took it off, he had on like the Jeff Jarrett Venetian stripe kind of half corset that went up to his ribcage. And I seen it and I was just like, did Seth just take Jeff Jarrett's look? He took Jeff Jarrett's old 90s look. What the... You know, if anyone could pull that look off, it's Seth, definitely. Yeah. So, as far as the match went, great. You know, I will say this. Decent back and forth with each other with Paul leading early on. And then Seth leading in the second half of it. And at one point, the walking prime bottle that came out to dance with and was being like a little mascot for Logan Paul eventually went to go and run interference on Seth. Ripped off the faceplate that the person can breathe under. Showed it was Logan's friend, KSI, whatever the fuck whoever the fuck he is. I don't know. I didn't get a good shot of his face at first, and honestly, I didn't even know who the fuck that dude was. At first, I thought it was R-Truth because all I could see was the bandana and half a face, and I was like, is that Truth? And then I heard Colin Graves, excuse me, heard Colin Graves saying, "Oh my god, that's KSI, that's Logan Paul's friend, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, oh, that's not, okay. So yeah. He goes, runs interference, and then Paul starts beating the shit out of Seth, sets him up on top of the announcer table, and then his buddy gets a phone out, and he's like, yeah, trying to make it. And the big thing that they kept hyping up over the course of this match, that the commentators kept hyping up, is that Paul was looking to make viral moments, making viral moments. Anyone can make a fucking viral moment. Here's the thing. They're viral for a reason, because they eventually, just like a virus, go away. People it's gone. It's done with. You know? But yeah, as doing that, Seth then, boom, pulls the prime bottle douchebag over, and then Paul splashes him. Seth gets him in, starts working on him, and then the match keeps going for a little bit, bing, bang, boom. Eventually it comes to an end when Logan Paul sets Seth up in a corner and he goes up to the top to go and do a coast to coast. Seth gets up, boom, pops him with a super kick and then hits him with a curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Zeus, Odin, whoever up there thought, yes, Seth should win, Thank you. Next up, we got Trios Women's action. Bailey, Io, and Dakota. Dakota Kai going against Lita, Trish. Definitely needed the hard pills. And Becky, and the MILF, the man, Becky Lynch. And yeah. Lita, Trish, and Becky, they had like a Frank Miller Sin City kind of entrance, and I will say this now. People were chanting, "You still got it," to Trish. I say nay, because you can't say you still got it unless you lost it. And guys, trust me, Trish has not lost it. I wish I still had that fucking college thesis, that thesis I wrote in college, saying Canada's second greatest export. The first being maple syrup, but their second greatest export in the world. Attractive women wrestlers. And I wrote it out and I compiled a list, and yeah. Surprisingly, I got a B- for that thesis, but passing grade, and it still holds to this day. Especially when at the fact I had Trish at number 1 for Canadian women wrestlers. So as far as the match went, big giant brawl before the bell, and then Bailey and her team, they were leading at the start. Becky wound up being the punching bag. Then Lita wound up being the punching bag for a bit. And then once Lita wound up being the punching bag, that's when it clicked in the head. Man, this crowd is going to go nuts once Trish gets in. Trish got in, and just like I said, you can't say she still got it unless she lost it. And Trish, she went to town, and man, it was like seeing it. It was like watching when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, all over again, seeing Trish working in that ring. She still could go. If she wanted to, if she wanted to, I wouldn't be surprised if she could go like it was back in the day. Like, damn. She could, no doubt. Match came, it was a good match. I thought it was a good, solid match. I absolutely enjoyed it. Match came to an end when Becky wound up doing the manhandle slam, doing an avalanche manhandle slam onto Bailey. So got the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, Bailey then put out a cryptic thing on Twitter saying, "So this is what it's like, blah, 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 goodbye." And then now everyone's speculating, "Oh, she's going to leave the company. She's going to do that. She's going to do that." Dude, again, you have any idea on how many people put out cryptic shit like that on a regular basis? Come on. Don't go reading into it. I'd more so read into silence than somebody putting out a cryptic tweet after they lost a match saying, "Oh, I can't believe I lost. I should just go home." No. So next up we got Dominik versus Rey, father against son, and I'm going to say this now. Dominik's entrance, really cool. Came in, was in a paddy wagon. They pulled up, brought him out. He was cuffed, wearing one of Rey's masks. They undid the cuffs. He took the mask off and then got in the ring. Then Rey's entrance. Rey's entrance got me and choked me up. Because at first they showed him and Snoop riding in one of Snoop's lowriders. And, then as they got out in the crowd, they played Eddie's music. And I that choked me up because played Eddie's music, doing Eddie's taunt, and then just like, damn, that fucking hit where that hit hard, man. That hit hard. But yeah, Rey, fucking great entrance at that. This was an amazing match. Great storytelling, and I made this argument before with the SummerSlam match between Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan. It was like a father-son thing, and obviously, yeah, that match was what it was, but and Shawn with the overselling and the overreacting and all that shit, yeah, that still goes with being like an almost father-son kind of reenactment. But in this case, this was great storytelling with father-son. You know, Ray just finally having enough of his son being mean, abusive, foul, you know, shitting all over the family name, not giving a damn what everything his father gave him the world, and he's deciding, and he still spits in his dad's face for it. All that jazz. It was just great. Absolutely fucking great. And then at one point, Dom, he goes over, he sees his mom and his sister there. He steals the drink out of his sister's hand, splashes it on her, and my first thought was, I would have been scared to death doing that, because if my sister didn't kick my ass, my mom would have. And then he got in his mom's face and started going off on her, and yeah, honestly, I can't even fathom trying to do something like that to my mom, because she would have, if I would have ever even thought of trying to do that, I'd still be in a coma now. But he did that, and then next thing you know, Ray's wife Angie just wham, decked him, and then Ray just came out like, that's my fucking woman. And then Ray started proceeding to go and picking up the pace. At one point, he had Dom shoved into a corner, took off the belt that was on his suit, that was on his gear, and then started whipping Dom with it. And it was just like, yep, that is a father-son storytelling aspect right there. I have to whoop that boy. I have to whoop some sense into that boy. Great. It was just great, honestly, you know. And at one point, Finn and Priest came out. They went to go try and run interference. Legado del Fantasma came out to go and take them out. And it was just, they go, and it was great because between the Lowrider and then that Friday night on SmackDown where Ray brought back the LWO, it was just like one big tribute to Eddie after another. And listen, you'll never hear me ever say one bad thing about Eddie Guerrero, and so help me God if I ever see somebody say one bad thing about Eddie Guerrero, I think that's going to be the last thing they ever say. But match came to an end when Dom, he went to go for a chain that was wrapped up in a blazer. Damian Priest left on the side. He had it wrapped up, and then Bad Bunny, who was doing Spanish commentary, I forgot to mention that, got out of the seat, yanked the chain out of Dom's hand, started yelling at him like, oh, no, we already had enough shenanigans and bullshit here. We ain't doing any more of that. He's arguing with him. Next thing you know, Ray then capitalizes on that. Bam! Takes him down, hits him with a 619, and then goes Froggy. 1, 2, 3. Following night on Raw, now on the Raw after Mania, Dom wound up getting in Bad Bunny's face because he was sitting ringside. And then them two start brawling. And then he winds up, and then Damian Priest goes, beats the crap out of him, puts him through a table. There were fan camera footage showing him being taken to the back. The commentators wound up saying that Bad Bunny wound up messing up his shoulder. Honestly, I think the storytelling here is going to lead to Backlash pay-per-view being in Puerto Rico and with Bad Bunny hosting. It's going to be Damian Priest and Dom going against Ray and Bunny. So yeah, next up we got women's action. Rhea Ripley going against Charlotte Flair. Thank God I took my heart pills. Going and really great solid pace and flow in this match. Really good back and forth. Both, honestly, if I had to describe this match in one way, both girls just left it all out on the mat. They did not, they looked at everything that led up to that match and was like, hold our beer, watch us. And then when the match was done, they came back, grabbed that beer, and then said, top that, fuckers. And it was just like, Whoa. This was hands down the best one-on-one match on night one, in my opinion. And it was just great, non-stop. You know, you could see the emotion in both girls' faces with the near finishes. Everyone, both just like, what the? Why won't you just stay down? Like that. It was just so great. Match came to an end when Rhea wound up face planting Charlotte into the ring post. Charlotte, she was up, had Rhea up on the top rope. She was going to do something. She was like going to look what looked like almost like kind of, I think maybe it was like a superplex or maybe a Frankensteiner. But Rhea got down and then wham! Slammed her face down onto the ring post. It's just like, oh. And then Charlotte just laid there like she was dead, like, oh. And then Rhea got up and then did an avalanche riptide, 1, 2, 3. And the big part of this match that really got me more than anything, as Rhea was celebrating, the camera cut to Charlotte sitting on the floor outside the ring and just laughing, smiling, letting it soak in that Rhea won. You know, people can say whatever the hell they want about Ric Flair or Charlotte for that matter, but you know, she really did the look on her face. That kind of told me that she was like, yeah, take it in, kid, you earned it. So next up we got we needed a let me up match before the main event. So Miz came out with Snoop Dogg to go and talk about the attendance numbers and all that jazz. And then Pat McAfee made a surprise appearance, which made Michael Cole almost lose his voice. And then came out to challenge Miz to a match. So Miz was like, no. See, I'm wearing a $10,000 custom suit. I'm not dressed for the occasion, this, that, and the other. And then Snoop Dogg's like, whoa. Now, you're a host, but so am I. So I'm saying, let's make this match official. Let's get a referee down here. And this was a squash match. It was a let-me-up match, just to, you know, let the crowd breathe for a moment. Because after that match, man, you couldn't have that. It would have been like WrestleMania 18 having Rock and Hogan, then going to Jericho, Triple H. Like, no, you need a buffer. You need something to let them exhale, and this is what it was. So, yeah. Now we come to main event of night one: the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And interesting bit of information, just trivia note for random wrestling trivia. This is the second consecutive year Kevin Owens main evented a night at WrestleMania, and Sami Zayn is the first Syrian Muslim to main event a WrestleMania. So just random trivia for you. So as far as this match went, man, it was great. You know, now I'll be the first to admit, honestly, I thought the girls should have been the main event, but the way the story played out and then as the match went, it was like, all right, yeah, this sold me. This definitely should have been the main event instead. You know, but the storytelling with this, at first, Sami, who was the punching bag from the start. Usos with the whole, you should have never left the bloodline, you were family, all you had to do was just stay in line, follow orders, this, that, and the other and stuff. Now, Owens got the hot tag in and then started going cleaning up house, had a really great back and forth in the match. I can't emphasize that, the back and forth in this was amazing. It was not lopsided in one way, shape, or another. And Usos, they were leading near the end of the match, near the closing arc of the match, I should say. And then as the match came to an end, Sami, he's in there, and he's in there with Jay. Okay? So he's in there with Jey Uso, which is important given the story and everything. Sami then goes, boom, haluva kick. Boom, haluva kick. And then they pan back and he's in the corner for the third time. Straightens out his beard so it's not blocking his view. Pulls his hair back. Wipes sweat off his face and then just looks at him. I fucking loved you, man. And he just has this look on his face like, I fucking loved you, man. And then, boom, a third haluva kick. 1, 2, 3. Your winners and new undisputed tag team champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Somewhere out there, Jim Cornette has got to be fucking furious over that, and deep down in my cold black heart, that makes me happy. So on to night 2 of WrestleMania now. Night 2 of Mania. Started out with Omos versus Brock Lesnar, and dude, this was a huge hell of a shocker because Omos owned Brock Lesnar right from the start. I never saw Brock Lesnar get tossed and manhandled like that before. Not going against any other kind of big man before, and I was just flabbergasted, like, what the hell? And it was just great seeing, because it was like, okay, you know, this is a different kind of take on Brock. Not only that, the biggest shock in this match. At one point, Omos had Brock in a bear hug, and you could see Brock's back. The biggest takeaway, and a lot of people saw a lot of people bringing it up on my timeline on my Twitter. Brock has a tramp stamp. Like, whoa, wait, what? Okay, listen. I'm not going to make any jokes on it because in the 1 in a trillion chance Brock ever sees this, last thing I want to do is say a joke that runs the risk of pissing him off and then wanting to beat the hell out of me. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at, I was shocked to see that. So yeah, match came to an end when Brock, he starts to build a comeback, throws a couple Germans on Omos, which made me and my son both jump out of our seats like, holy! He just hoisted up a 415-pound, 7-foot monster. And then Brock goes for an F5. No, can't. Back gave out. Then he gets him up. He has him up on his shoulders, and then wham! Hits him with an F5. So, yeah, it was like, holy hell. And I know some people weren't a fan of the finish, but I say this, I make this argument about Brock. And this dates back all the way to his debut back in the 2000s. Brock Lesnar is a monster. Not only is he a monster, he's a monster that eats other monsters. So how the hell are you going to book him? You know, short from having God himself coming down and beating the hell out of Brock Lesnar, really, I don't see much of a clean finish for Brock. A clean loss happening in Brock Lesnar's future. So, next up, the women's tag team match. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, Shotzi, Sonya and Chelsea Green versus Ronda and Shayna Baszler. And this was honestly, this match was really, as much as it was a fatal 4-way, it was booked as a fatal 4-way, it was more so played out more like a triple threat because all 3 of the qualifying teams really did most of the action. Ronda and Shayna barely did any, which, honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of an easy gig as far as to get a WrestleMania pay go. Like, hey, we'll come out here, just throw 1 or 2 punches. Okay. We're still getting a good WrestleMania paycheck for it too. Cool. Excuse me. But, yeah, it was solid action with all 3 of them teams shining. It was all of them. And I can't stress that enough. All of them got the shine. It played out really good, really well, decent match. It came to an end when Ronda, she was eventually one of the legal competitor in, got Shotzi, and then you could see it. She had Shotzi hooked for an armbar, and then as Shotzi, she was knocked out. You see You can see it. She's like, shakes the cobwebs out, looks up, sees Ronda. And then Ronda drops down and locks it in. And then Shotzi taps out immediately. If I had to make a complaint, it's just personal gripe. Don't tap out the very second the submission's locked in. At least hold out for like 3 or 5 seconds. A small sense of realism, like maybe, yeah, okay, I give. You know, something like that. That's all. Next up, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunther. You got 3 big meaty men having a meat slapping meat kind of action. And this was, yeah, this was big meaty men slapping meat. That's all I can put this as. It was just... Now, right at the start, Drew, boom, popped a Claymore on the Gunther and then took him out. And then Drew and Sheamus just looked at each other. Are we going to do this? We going to do this? Oh, let's do this. And then them two were going at... And I have said this for time immemorial now. When Drew McIntyre and Sheamus fight each other, it's like the bar fight scene in The Quiet Man. If you have not seen that movie, 1, I highly recommend you see it. And then 2, when you look at that bar fight scene, you will understand the reference. Yeah. It was just... And then at one point, once Gunther did get in, him and Drew had a chop fight, and it was just a... I felt it in my soul. I felt those chops in my soul. Like, I was pretty sure, I cupped my ear and I was pretty sure I could hear them outside. Like, not even from my TV speakers, just like I could actually hear the from it. Like, oh. And it was just, wow. And it was a great match. Drew and Sheamus at one point put on a clinic with each other because it was just trying to take each other out in the match, and it was just great. I can't emphasize this enough. These 3 guys put on a fucking spectacle. This was hands down one of the best matches of the night. It was great. Match came to an end when Gunther wound up breaking the pin Sheamus had, and then power bombs Sheamus onto Drew McIntyre, and then picks up Drew McIntyre, and then power bombs him onto the mat, and then pins him 1, 2, 3. That's fucking textbook fucking perfect, because I'm gonna beat a motherfucker with a motherfucker, and then I'm gonna drive that motherfucker into the dirt. Yeah. I feel sorry for the guy that listen. I would not want to be on Gunther's bad side. He is that motherfucker. If you ran into in an alley, you'd want to want to have a shotgun at close range on to make sure that job gets taken care of. So now we come to another women's match. We got Asuka. Asuka going against Bianca, and Bianca had a fucking amazing entrance. She had a whole bunch of kids that were dressed up just like her, doing a choreographed dance. Had little kids that are actual contortionists, bending and flipping and all that jazz, doing her entrance. It was just fucking great to see. And excuse me, Bianca, she started out really strong and was dictating the pace of the match. Asuka, she was working good, really good, like a hungry challenger. And it was a great match. I fucking loved it. It was great. You know, both girls really know on how to work with each other and know on how to accentuate each other's positives. It was great. That's all I can put it at. The match came to an end when Asuka had an armbar in, and Bianca, she rolled out of it. She actually rolled out of the armbar while still locked in, and then somehow was able to transition into getting Asuka doing a deadlift up to hit a KOD 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that was great. So yeah, now we come to another. So now we need another little bit of a popcorn, let me up feel fluffer match. Miz came out with Snoop again, talking about the total attendance between night 1 and night 2 was over the 100,000 mark. And then Snoop was saying, whoa, now you had a match last night. How about we give you another match tonight? Oh, no, I am not fighting Pat McAfee again. This last night I was in a $10,000 suit. This suit costs even more. No. And then Snoop says, oh, no, it won't be Pat. Hits the music, and out comes Shane fucking McMahon, which, again, 2023 bingo card. Did not have Shane McMahon coming back either. Fuck. Shane comes out, just goes, does, hey, Los Angeles, thanks for that. Love you guys. And then they start to go to do the match. They start running the ropes. Shane goes, does a leapfrog, lands, boom, tears his quad. Tears his quad off of that. Shades of when Vince tore his quad just getting in the ring, arguing with Cena and Batista at the Royal Rumble that one year. So thank the gods for Snoop Dogg, because Snoop came in and called it real quick, came in, decked Miz, and then just completely off the cuff took off his glasses, threw them, and then did just like all of us fans growing up did. Tease, taunt, and then ran off the ropes and then did his own little bit of the people's elbow, and then 1, 2, 3. So technically, Snoop Dogg won a match against Miz and Shane McMahon. But either way, it was, yeah. So now we come to Edge versus Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell, and I'll say this, Edge had the best fucking entrance of WrestleMania because he came out with having fucking Slayer playing him out. Yeah, listen, if you can have Slayer playing you to the ring, fuck, dude, no. You automatically are like fucking 100 times more badass just because of that. And then, so, one thing I did notice that almost made me get a little worried was before Edge got in the ring, he was feeling his left arm, moving his left arm, trying to shake it like he had some jolts in it, was grabbing around near his tricep. My first thought was, oh no, don't tell me his neck's acting up and he's losing feeling in his hand. Or it was either that or maybe just like pre-fight jitters. Finn came out as the Demon. Fucking phenomenal entrance. We all said from the moment Finn first used the Demon entrance back in NXT, once that shit hits WrestleMania, that's going to be fucking lit. And it did not disappoint. Now, as far as this match went, Balor as the Demon, and I haven't used this example in a long time, but when a lot of people always say, well, what's the difference between when Finn's the Demon and when he's not? All it is just he's wearing face paint. Read Batman R.I.P. Read the Batman R.I.P. story because, and this is why, because at one point Batman looks at a person and says, you forget, I'm the Batman of Zahura. I'm what happens, I'm Batman when you take Bruce Wayne out of the equation. That's pretty much the same. That is a picture-perfect example to describe what's the Demon like for Finn. The Demon form for Finn Balor is basically what happens when you take Finn himself out of the equation. And it's just like, let all the rage and chaos and madness flow. No moral compass whatsoever kind of deal. So, match starts. Edge going all out on the Demon. Just gets hit, gets back up, no selling, everything. Like, that don't hurt. Really, really extremely physical, fucking brutal beating with each other. Balor, he was leading right up until at one point Edge, he started getting the pace, went under the ring, grabbed a ladder, and then threw a ladder at Finn and knocked Finn down. And then you can see when Finn picked his head up, saw it starting to drain down right under him, and like, oh shit, he's busted open. So the refs had to hit pause on the match, which that unfortunately kind of took the air out of the match and it was like, oh, fuck. First Shane, now this. Fuck. But from what I heard, it was off camera. Finn got shot with a numbing agent and then had some staples put in real quick to finish up the match. Because, dude, honest to God, if they would have canceled that match right then and there from that, oh my God, there would have been no recovering from that. Oh, you know, but I give Finn mad credit where credit's due. He put out the picture and showed later on in that night. He got split down the middle right on the top of his head. And dude, he fucking worked. Because they still went back at that same pace and flow right up before that spot happened. It was just, once that spot happened and they hit pause, it was just like, okay. Well, oh look, they're back being super physical again. Cool. Yay. Like if you were watching on TV, you could see they were piping in crowd chants, because I'm hearing the crowd chants, I'm looking at the crowd like, they're not cheering. They're piping this shit in. Damn. So, yeah. Match came to an end when Edge wound up, started going ballistic onto Finn, actually did an execution off of a ladder at one point, and then set Finn up, put a chair under him, and then did a one-man concerto. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, now we come to main event of the night, and the main event itself of WrestleMania. Oh baby, the son of a plumber, the American Nightmare himself, if you will, baby. Cody Russell Reynolds, also known as Cody Rhodes, baby, going against the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. And oh my God, big fight feel on this one. Cody came out, he went over when he first came out, and people have been saying it for weeks. When you hear that when you see Cody's entrance, you always heard the crowd getting a little bit louder and louder with that whoa part. Once he got to that part, man, it was like you could hear it like if you were fucking there. So Cody, he came down, went over, saw Brandy, his daughter, gave them both a hug and kiss, same with his mom, and then Brody Lee's son was there also. He gave Cody gave him his belt, and it was just like, man, fuck. Night one we got a little tidbit for Eddie. Now we get a reference to Brody. Fuck. All the good ones go too soon. Still to this day, miss Mr. Brody Lee. So, yeah. Now back to the match. Really good feeling out with Roman coming off looking a little overconfident. Like, man, come on. This guy really thinks he's on my level? Nah, I'm on God mode. Excuse me. Really good. No. And Roman, he was leading really much so in a methodical pace, kind of way and going. Solo, he had Solo and Paul Heyman with him as well. Solo, he kept going and running a little bit of interference here and there until eventually Solo took the weight belt that he gave Brody Jr. and then wham, cracked Cody with it. The ref, he didn't see it because Roman had him distracted, but he heard the crack of the belt and then looked at Solo and was like, no, that's enough out of you. You are out of here. Throws Solo out. And then, so, yeah. And that both just were going at it tooth and fucking nail. Giving it every little bit they got. And at one point there was a ref bump and then the Usos came running down to go and run interference. Beat the shit out of Cody. They get stopped after a little bit by KO and Sami. And then match ensues and continues. Match goes and then Cody hits not one but two crossroads back to back. And then is trying to get Roman up for a third one. You see Roman starting to wiggle. Paul Heyman has the ref distracted. And as Cody's fighting trying to get Roman for a third crossroads, Solo comes out of nowhere. Wham! Pops Cody with a Samoan spike. And then Roman goes and then hits a spear. 1, 2, 3. So yeah. The following night on Raw, Roman winds up doing what he does. Telling Los Angeles, acknowledge me. I said what I was going to do. I beat Cody. So then out comes Cody and he says, oh, I got one. I know what I want to talk about. And it's just one word. Rematch. Tonight. And then Paul Heyman, no, you don't get to say when. Not now, not in Puerto Rico, not at Survivor Series, not at SummerSlam, not in Madison Square Garden or anywhere else, and then starts naming all kinds of places. But, no. And then Cody's saying, well, you know what, how about this then? Since you won't give me a one-on-one, how about a tag? I'll take you and Solo on. And then Paul's like, if you can find a partner. But here's the deal. If they team with you, they're never getting a title shot again. And then the music hits and out comes Cowboy Brock. Brock Lesnar comes out much to the surprise of everyone. And then Brock's just sitting there hugging Cody like, yeah, we'll do this. And that works to Brock's favor. It works in the favor because Brock, well, given the stipulation at SummerSlam, since Brock lost, he can never challenge for the title again so long as Roman is champion. So yeah. So they all get to the ring, and before the match can start, then boom, Brock Lesnar attacks Cody and then beats the ungodly holy hell out of him. To the point to where officials and everyone is trying to pull Brock off of him. And it's just like, no, listen. That's like trying to stop a bear from mauling someone. You can't. It's best just to let him finish on his own at this point. I'm sorry, man. I can't save you. You're dead. But yeah. Yeah. That's on how it went. It was... The Raw after Mania kind of felt like a normal Monday Night Raw. It didn't have the Raw after Mania feel, but it was still a good Raw. It felt like a good Raw to me. Maybe not to everyone else, but to me. Mania, though, oh my fucking God. The only two missteps were Shane tearing his quad and the Hell in a Cell match going on pause. That's it. Other than that, oh fuck. Man. So, yeah, that is it for this week's show, folks. So, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the episodes when you can. Look for me on the Twitter at KimVicious. Also, thank you to my executive producer, Ari Ray Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check it out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud. All that good shit details are down below. Also, thank you to contributor of the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. There are a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, don't forget to check out WebManeuver.net for some Vicious Rants apparel. Help support the show. Summer's coming around, and folks, the Vicious Studios could really use an AC. So please help support the show and buy a t-shirt so I can get an AC. Do not forget to... Excuse me. Do not forget to also follow these cool-ass casts right on the Twitter. Kenny Killer, DSB underscore IV, Diabolica RA, Sergeant Curry Pants and Dogs in your face. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me.
You're okay, nah, the hierarchy are under me. I give a fuck about people who don't buy